to give you a wrong answer, and then, but the Google give you a different answer that is right. So we're gonna talk about those. So what do we talk about? Now this one's not on the test. It's just for purely information wise and for students who are intriguing about mathematics. So I think the question says sine inverse of sine of 2, right?
Yeah.
But here's the understand. What is 2? Now it's the hardest part for this part of math.
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
2, what is it?
1. I don't know.
So 2, nobody knows what it is, but 2 is not degree, but in this case the 2 is the radians. So this 2 is radian. But you say, wait, 2 radian. We learned in the past, we know 1 radian. It's also on the notes, but most of you guys don't remember. 1 radian is equal to how many degrees?
30?
No. No.
180?
No.
90?
If you don't know, don't guess. If you know it, it's a with decimal numbers.
Oh, no.
And most of you guys, I did write down the notes. I says, look, this is probably essential for you to know. 1 radian, for most of you guys don't know what a 1 radian is. 1 radian is 57.3 degrees. 57.3 degrees. So therefore, 2 means how many degrees?
When you multiply it by 3.
There you go, is what?
114.0.
Right, so which quadrant will that be?
Second quadrant.
114 degrees, right? It'll be second quadrant. So it'll be going all the way here. Some type of angle here, we're gonna name the 2. Radian, we're gonna name 2 radian is equal to theta. It's 2 radians. Then you say, oh, okay, I think I know. So sine of this 2 radians is gonna give me a ratio of some type of triangle. So this is some type of triangle right here, and we don't know what is the y and what is the h, and we don't know what the x, we know this theta. So this is gonna give me some type of y over h. But then I have so this is gonna give me some type of ratio, and then we get sine inverse of that ratio is gonna give me back the angle. Then you say, okay, so that angle is gonna be this one. So what is this angle? Well, we know on a reference angle, this theta is known as what? Well, if this is 30, what do you think from here to here is?
150.
150, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, but we have sine inverse. Sine inverse has a restriction. It's basically saying this angle right here, the same angle, but we gotta figure out what the angle is first. How do I get an angle? Well, we know that angle is equal to pi minus 2. Look, pi is all the way here. Take away this part, how much you have left?
Mm-hmm.
So it's equal to pi minus 2. And pi minus 2 is in the first quadrant. So it's 1.14. So this is a very difficult question. Again, it's a very challenging question. Even I was the second year teaching pre-calculus, I didn't fully understand. So am I gonna put it on test? No. Is that relevant? No. Is that useful in life? Probably not. Just trivial information. So obviously you can figure out the one that's cosine inverse of cosine of 4.
4 minus
Not 4 minus pi, no.
pi minus.
Well, can you tell me what 4 is though?
Yeah.
That would be
4 is in
Which quadrant will be 4?
the third quadrant.
It'll be third quadrant because 3.14 is on the x-axis, right? 4 is not halfway here yet. 4 point,
Yeah.
about, I would say 4.5 is right here, so 4 is right here, so 4 is something here. So this is the angle from here to here is 4. Does that make sense? But again, we want it to be in, if this is a part, I want it to be in this quadrant. Because cosine need to be in this quadrant, give me the same value. Does that make sense? Then you say, okay, from here to here is 4, but how do I get to here? Well, this one's kind of hard because in order to get there, you had to go all the way to here, and then subtract 4, it's going to go back to there. So it's 2 pi minus 1. But again, you don't understand this? Perfectly fine. I can live with it, you don't understand. I can't. You cannot understand?
No, he can't live with
I
it.
can't really say it.
So 2 pi is all the way here, right?
Yeah.
But if I minus 4, which is right here, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
I think I got it.
I think I understand it.
So,
Can you give another one?
you gonna do,
wait, is that 2 pi minus 4?
yeah.
Yep, that's what it says on the board.
Oh yeah, 2 pi minus 4. Because 4 is all the way from here to here, so it'll be 2 pi. So 2 pi take away here, so that means going backward, it's gonna be right here in the second position. Yeah. So this is a hard problem. But we're gonna go talk about question 8 and question 4 and then question 5. So question 8, there's something similar to this. So, but their question is much easier. So
Which
can you give me one of the bottom part of question 8?
Yeah.
So maybe like a E or F or whatever.
Inverse sine of sine of 5 pi over 80.
No, that's no fun. Let's do cosine. Inverse of cosine. 11 pi over 8.
Be like it's in each be.
Okay. So this is number 8. F. And I do this question, and you're gonna say, oh, okay. Well, obviously, cosine inverse of cosine is gonna give me back to a radian. Does that make sense? So most people in intuition is gonna tell me 11 pi over 8, but it's not 11 pi over 8 because 11 pi over 8 is not in a restriction of cosine inverse. But we had to figure out where the hell is 11 pi over 8 is. Which quadrant is 11 pi over 8 is?
Second quadrant.
What'd you say, Michael?
Third.
Third. Why the third?
Oh, because 8 plus 8 is 1, and so then you add 3. Then it's to get to the third quarter. So the first quarter is pi over 2, right?
Which is 4 pi over 8.
4 over 8. So then you add another 4, you get there halfway, then what's left? 3. So you're in the third one.
Yeah, but it's not 4, it's not another 4, so therefore, good job. So now you're paying attention. So you got go in here, you go in here, that is 11 pi over 8. Okay? Somewhere there. But then you say, well, cosine inverse has to be between the top 2 quadrants. Does that make sense? So it has to be this quadrant to give me the exact same thing. But then you say, okay, then according to what he said this one, this side is 8 pi over 8.
Yeah.
Then I can figure out this angle right here. Well, I can figure out this angle here too, 11 pi over 8. But I can figure out this small angle right there. But here, what is this angle right here between x-axis and this angle? If the whole thing is 11 pi over 8, from all the way to here, but what is this small angle here?
3
Oh.
pi?
What is it?
3 pi over 8.
3 pi over 8, good.
Good shit.
So that's equal to 3 pi over 8. So then I say, well, I need to be in here, but it's going to go from here to here. So 3 pi over 8 has to be here. Therefore, is a pi minus 3 pi over 8, which is roughly 5 pi over 8. So the answer is 5 pi over 8.
Wait, what? I'm confused. I'm so
Takes
confused,
time.
so I don't,
So
I
are
don't
you
understand
taking,
anything.
are you finding the remainder or the?
Yeah, I'm finding from here to here.
I understand.
I'm finding
where
from
you
here to
found
here
out.
because this is where my actual angle is, but I need to figure out what the reference angle. This is 3 pi over 8, therefore this is 3 pi over 8, would you say? But 3 pi over 8 is not what we're trying to get to, because 3 pi over 8 is from here to here. But we want to get from here to all the way here, so therefore it's pi minus 3 pi over 8. How'd you get 5 pi over 8? That means distance from here to here, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Could you just also do 8 pi over 8 minus 3 pi over 8?
That's what I did.
That would be easy.
Alright, that's what I did, right? Okay, you can try another one. You can try,
Will E just be?
Can you explain another one?
huh?
I don't get it.
You don't get it? Okay, who can explain it?
Andre's got it.
I get it, but I don't think I
Question,
Oh no, I just came because I couldn't see.
question.
Yeah.
Does that mean that is E 3 power?
E?
No.
E is, what'd you get?
3 power 8?
You understand now, because that's in the first quadrant. You had to go from x-axis to
Okay,
there.
so I understand that it's in the third quadrant.
So you can try like maybe D, you already did
Get it?
E.
It's in the third quadrant, right?
So if you're not knowing what's that,
This entire thing
Up to
is
here.
11.
Yeah,
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 it's
up to here. No, not really.
And then you know here is 8 pi over 8.
So we know that this is
That's 3 pi over 8. And you want the exact same thing, so you could go for 3 pi over 8.
No, this is, right here is 3 pi over 8, right?
so you can try
So that makes
number
it
8,
right? So that's also 3 pi
E,
over
AE, Daniel already got an answer.
8. Also 3 pi over
And you can even try AG.
8. But it said pi minus 3 pi over 8. Isn't that case?
So all this answer, that
Oh,
calculator
so you're
doesn't give
trying
you
to
a right
find
answer,
this.
by the way.
So this is pi, so
Why
pi
are you
minus
trying
3.
to find that?
Because it's inverse of cosine, so it can only go up to here. It can't go
Yeah.
past here.
Inverse
So it
cosine
has
is
to-
top two quadrant.
So it has to be right
Yeah, but
here.
like, what's the point of these being there then? How do you just make them disappear?
You're not, you're using this one to find, you're just using this to find the 3 pi over 8, so you can
Mr.
put it back
D
over
at 2
here.
pi over 5.
D?
Yeah.
D is,
Okay, let's do the next one.
what'd you get?
2 pi over
This
5.
was, this one?
No.
What should I wanna do?
Cosine inverse at first and second quadrant.
Which one should we do?
I'm gonna do D.
Okay, do D.
Is D 3 power 5?
So it's 5 pi over 8, so it's gonna be second quadrant.
Yeah, no?
You do that?
3 power 5?
Finish second quadrant, and then
But it's
pi
sine.
over
3
two,
pi over 5?
so we feel pi. So this is
Oh,
what's
hold on.
pi over
It's
two.
impossible, hold on.
That's
But it's sine, so it has to be
That's
another
pi over
side.
two minus pi
No,
over eight.
8. Oh,
So it'd be over
it's
here.
kind of hard.
Uh-huh.
Pi over
It's actually a
three.
fourth quadrant
So
there.
like,
It
pi
is?
over two minus pi
So
over
what'd
eight.
you get? What's your answer?
2 pi over 5.
2 pi over 5 is right.
Also, you just add the 2 to go.
Could you use the same method for like page over here?
I didn't know if it was on the third or fourth.
No,
I
this
just
is
said-
reverse.
It has to be inside of
You have to
this
figure out what
one.
the inside
No,
is.
no,
Cosine of
it's on the
19.6
fourth.
So
is.
if
Two
it were
minus
cosine,
pi
I got it, I put it in the third.
cosine,
Then you should have
inverse
got
of cosine.
You always work from inside the
Yeah.
parenthesis out. So what I do is, like here, there's not units.
Pi over
So it would be closer if you were on the third quadrant.
It's
Yeah, pi
possible to
over
work the same thing out, so
Right.
what do you think the
No.
answer is?
Yeah, but I think three pi over
Yeah,
eight.
if you were on the
the
third
way that
quadrant,
we
it would
work
be 3.
right now.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
Me and I can just figure out this 19 times
Mister?
6 pretty easy.
I put it in
Letter E is 3 pi over eight?
E is 3 pi over 8,
Okay, so
yes.
we're getting.
Yeah, because it's over here. It's 19 power 16 over here.
So what do you think the answer is?
Well,
Yeah.
the cosine part,
You could
the-
get to the
I understand cosine, because that.
You can use the same way to figure out the answer here,
Yeah,
yes.
it would only,
Like, the difference
you
between
did it the
11
wrong
and
way.
8 is 5, the difference between 5 and 6.
Yeah, it's not
No, I think that was just lucky. I think
Okay,
you're
let's-
I did what he did right there.
Is B 2 pi over 5?
No.
How about B? No. Same reason. B and D have the same
This
reason.
is like 3.5, so 5 over 5.
Good talk.
This is 10 over 5, so 4 to 30.
E?
No, 5 pi over 5 is second. Here, so it'd be 8 pi over 5.
But this is 10 pi over 5.
No, 1 and 4.
Yeah,
I'm deciding.
1 and 4.
so then what would So here would be.
Okay, so we're gonna go through number 4, example question for number 4. Example question number 4 is, I'm gonna give you something like, I don't know, CSC of, no, I'm gonna do SEC of 10 inverse of, I don't know, -5/12, something like this. So the question is this, a little bit different. So then what are you gonna understand is start from inside out. So you got 10 inverse, right? 10 inverse, that means the result here, what am I gonna get? An angle or ratio? Angle. If 10 inverse on anything, it's gonna give me an angle, right? And then so this part is gonna give me an angle. Then I can do secant of that angle is gonna give me the thing. So now, this part is a little bit more challenging. You have to think about it. You have to say, wait, let me figure out this. I'm gonna draw a reference. I'm gonna draw a Cartesian coordinate first. And then I'm gonna figure out by looking at a 10 inverse first. What is the restriction for the 10 inverse? Which quadrant is 10 inverse?
The fourth.
1 and 4. Good. So I'm gonna put a check mark on this. This for 10 inverse, and this for 10 inverse, right? Now, which tangent is gonna give me negative? Which? So I have 10 inverse, but this is a negative sign.
So 4.
Is a fourth quadrant? What else? There's something else that is also gonna give me negative too. No, the third is gonna give me positive because you get negative, negative is positive. So this quadrant and this quadrant. So I'm gonna put a check mark here, I'm gonna put a check mark here. So the word, I have 2 check marks this way, I'm gonna draw a reference triangle. So I'm gonna draw a reference triangle right here, and this is my angle. Now the thing is, that 95 doesn't have to be here. I can place it right in the front. So that way you don't know if -5 or -12. But you have to use deductive reasoning and kind of figure out, you're playing detective. Detective here is, this one is opposite over adjacent. So adjacent is 12, opposite is 5. This is opposite of angle, 5 and 12. Now obviously one of them need to be negative. Which one need to be negative? The 5 need to be negative because you cannot be 12 because 12 is positive here. 5 is going down, it's negative. Then you can figure out what this side is using Pythagorean identity. So it'll be 12 squared plus -5 squared. That's equal to c squared. And the c squared is equal to 144 plus 25. C squared is equal to square root of 169. C is equal to 13 plus minus. But then you say, wait, is it negative or is it positive?
Positive,
Why?
because it can't be negative.
Hypotenuse is always positive. Okay, the other part can be negative. This part is always positive. So it'll be 13. So I'm gonna write down 13 here. And then you say, okay, well, secant, this means I'm gonna get secant of theta. It's opposite over. No.
No, let's talk about tangent.
What is secant of theta? It's hypotenuse on the top. How do I know that? Cosine.
Yeah.
Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Secant is opposite of that. So be adjacent. Hypotenuse over adjacent, right? Then I'm gonna get, let's work at 13 over adjacent is 12. So the answer is, a very nice answer is
Wait, so
13 over 12.
inverse.
So what you want to do is, I want you to try A, and I want you to try B for number 4.
Okay.
Okay, now you just have to figure out which quadrant, draw a reference triangle, everything else is gonna be easy.
4A.
4A and 4B. And we're gonna do the last one,
This is on the back, right?
just right here, it says 4. 4A and 4B.
It's sine, so it has to be over here, over here. So it's negative, it has to be over here, over here, so it's gonna be over here. Right?
4A?
Then sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Right? Okay. Then opposite is right here. So it's like 3. And then hypotenuse is 5. Hypotenuse always has to be positive. So this is
then
A
you
squared plus B squared equals C squared, so C squared is gonna be 5.
B squared can be
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to try 4A and 4B, come on.
B squared can be
Uh-huh.
This people's gonna get done very quickly, or the other people's gonna take forever, so you can choose whatever you wanna do.
16, so then A equals 4. Then what do we do?
So cosine of 4.
Oh, no, cosine 4.
Did you read the answers?
It's not cosine of 4.
Huh?
It's not
It's
cosine
not
of 4.
cosine.
Then how is it?
Then what did we do wrong?
You ought to figure out what is cosine of this theta. Cosine of theta is opposite, or is adjacent over hypotenuse. So you look at a triangle, say what is adjacent and hypotenuse is, and you get your answer.
Is the cosine
Oh,
of 4 over 5?
okay.
Huh?
So
Cosine
Miss
for-
Susan, what do you
now
need
we
to-
found the 4, that means we have every
Cosine
single
of
thing.
4 over
The
5.
cosine is negative
No,
over
it's
hypotenuse.
4 over
Then we
5.
just use
Oh,
all
so you
the-
have
that's
to
just-
Yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah.
What do you need the inside
Then
part
it-
for then?
Or inside part, I don't know, I use that inside part to draw a reference triangle.
Oh, I get it. Oh, okay, I get it.
So 4
But you
over
don't need
5?
to find like the, like for example, for A, you don't need to find the
See, I
sign.
get it, but like, if I already do it,
Miss, it's
Okay.
4 over 5?
Yes. Okay, try B, and if you can, help somebody.
What's the answer for A?
Huh?
What's the answer for A?
A is, should be 4 over 5.
So,
4 over 5?
adjacent over.
Okay, then you look smarter with that glasses.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Right. Oh, that's nice.
Smarter, Jaden.
So then, no, it can't. Oh, it has to be over here, right?
yeah.
So it's gonna be that. So thank you.
So the answer is 4 over 5. Do you want me to go over the first one or no?
Yes, please.
Who need me to go over the first one? Okay. What is a cosine, right?
Yeah.
Sine inverse, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And the negative 3 over 5. We don't know which one's negative. We're gonna put it in front. Okay, so let's figure out sine inverse quadrant is. This is gonna give me some type of angle, and we're gonna cosine that angle. So it's gonna eventually cosine of angle, and cosine of angle is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So we're gonna use this part to figure out my reference triangle is. So sine inverse is which two quadrant?
First,
It's negative, so which quadrant?
4.
No, 3 and 4. Okay, but obviously
No,
this
2
is
and
a,
2 and 4, right?
no, negative. Sine is negative is this two quadrant. That means y value is negative.
Oh.
So this one is 5,
And then cosine.
this one is negative 3, right?
Adjacent.
Yes.
So this side must be 4 because 3, 4, 5 triangle. And this one has to be negative.
Oh my God.
So then therefore it's 4 over 5.
Oh.
Sir, how do you figure out that's 5 and 3?
Huh?
How do you figure out that's 3
Because
over?
sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So you get your angle, right? You get the opposite, which would be the
Like
that
opposite.
side.
Yes, there
Yeah,
is
that's
b negative 2 square root of 5 over 5.
Okay, I need you to go teach somebody.
I just
I think
did-
Tatiana.
I finally
did-
understood it, bro.
Huh?
I barely know it myself.
Yeah, so that's why you need to teach now, so you can go teach Tati, you can teach
Shayo.
Shayo.
Teach Shayo.
I'm teaching style.
Yeah. A little bit. Low-key.
I think.
Wait, it's negative 2.
Me too, yeah.
Negative 2 square root of 5 over 5.
Okay.
Huh?
Negative 2 square root of 5.
Where's your little paper?
Okay, so C, you gotta be careful. They give you a 4, right? 4 must be over a number. What do you think the number is? 4 is over what number?
What? 4 is over
For
what?
tangent of negative 4?
Yeah. It's still
Over
a,
1?
huh?
Over 1.
So that's it.
So 1 is gonna be.
Oh, is that the, okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna create another thing, so, yes. So go teach different people, and you should be able to get through all those questions. Andre, it's already time to pack up.
Huh?
It's already time
Is
to
it?
pack up.
No, we still have like
We have 5
7
minutes.
minutes.
7 minutes.
I'll teach them.
Teach Tati.
I don't need that notes.
Stuff.
Any Liza need help? Listen to Andreas.
So I have to write.
We'll probably.
Right?
What's,
Okay, so first I'm gonna do is do this, right? And then sine.
Miriam, how old are you?
So,
15.
I turned 16 like in a few days, or like 20.
I have a person wanna hire you
Negative
Alright.
4.
You get it?
for like front office.
Okay, so sine.
She needed like a front
Sine
counter
equals
person.
right?
She work at a pet clinic. It's all the way in Casimiro. That part.
I live like 20 minutes away. 'Cause I live right next, you know the 417 highway? That's my backyard here.
Okay, so you live past Wawa.
I live deep in like Lynn Lakes. Yeah, it's, you know how to go back? The school's on for the school. Oh, I know where that is.
Wyndham Lake,
Yeah, it's like deep in it. Like I live in the middle of nowhere.
where David Jordan lives. Wait, you know David Jordan?
Huh? Okay.
You know David Jordan?
I don't know.
He lived there.
I live like there's this one road to Lake Nona that they opened like last year. That's basically where I live.
Like he begged me to drop him off one day. I dropped him off, and I said I'd never do it again.
Yeah.
It's like freaking. Even drive to Wyndham Day is like 40 minutes. It's like,
It's a hassle.
go through the speed bump. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
My birthday's on the 8th.
Should be something to do with square 17.
Oh yeah, that's true, 17.
They tend
I
to
act
put
older.
adjacent. I'm not used to Oh my god.
Mr. Dennis thinks I'm a junior still. Ned has been in his class for 5 years.
Is that an answer?
So when you do it, it seems so simple, but I know if I do it myself, it's really hard. Like, and what are the
So I need, do you have stapler?
Do you find that yours?
come on, you want this? What question are you supposed to
You guys get this? Try again.
I understand it, but it takes me more time.
Yes, sir, yeah, that's what I did for concussions.
All the.
I thought one of my allergies so I took 4. So it even worse. And
All the picnics.
I feel like this
We had to move.
So you're like super drowsy?
So we had to lift
10 of them. Because one of the ones outside, yeah, okay, one's the equivalent of 2, like we had 4, so that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like,
So,
yeah,
exactly.
You might.
it's 4 sides, 1, 2, 8.
Thank God I don't have
Like,
that.
it was, I lifted, you have to lift here, and then by the end, it worked down like 4 hours. But now,
4 and 8. 5 we're gonna talk about it, but I don't think I have time, but so you don't have to do 5. 5 is not the best. 7 and 6 we're not going. 7 and 6 is a high level question. Some of those true and false. It's like I said, there's a lot of things I don't know. So those are the things that I actually didn't know and I showed up. And it was very interesting because they actually talk about graph, cosine inverse cosine x and cosine inverse of x. They are like completely different graphs. And like, yeah, it's very interesting. But I'm not gonna go through this period. I'm gonna go through second period and third period, which is my stronger period. So you guys not responsible for this, but they will be interested in those stuff because they are the kids that will make you help. But this one is again is hard problems. Even though this is the first year I'm teaching it, although I teach 5 years of Precalculus, and this is the first year I'm gonna teach it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try second period and third period, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna test it.
So you do it, I get it. But I'm gonna go myself.
I would say a lot of, like if you go right now, ask any teacher right now, I want to graph cosine inverse of x. I think this four properties,
You're discussing
the
nothing
teacher
better than my
won't come up with a graph. It would be hard to visualize that graph. But it was very interesting. Though. It's just like people like don't understand how to work. I didn't know how to work until last year, end of last year.
Are you taking a top one?
But if you're interested, you can always graph it. You can see what it looks like.
I'm refresh comp too. Yeah, comp one was really easy. I'm gonna tell you what teacher to get.
I get to choose my teacher.
Yeah, you have to choose your teacher.
That's the trickiest part. So you go ratemyprofessor.com.
I don't even do that. I literally just pick like a girl name. So I'm like, pick girl names, pick girl names.
No,
And I was like, okay, whatever.
I don't trust that. There's some girls professor
Yeah,
something
I
else.
got the easy thing. I'm gonna tell you her name. You do nothing. She doesn't show up for half of the semester, bro. She's always late. If you don't do your homework, she does extra credit. Bro, she was